Hello YouTube. So in today's video it's going to be all over the place. I'm going to be doing the 90 on the turbo exhaust housing that holds the wastegate. I'll be showing you guys what wastegate I'm using, and I'll be doing the 90 on the compressor housing to clear the subframe for the intercooler piping. And I decided I'd go ahead and just put in the cooling system for the turbo, what parts you'll need and how you do it. That'll probably be towards the end of this video. And I actually got the right hose for the turbo oil drain now, so hopefully everything's correct under there and I don't have to take that turbo off again, because I think I'm about done. Like I've said before, I am not a fabricator. All I did here was I cut this tube here in the bend. I gotta clean it up yet and make it flat. This is a pretty rough cut so that the hole is bigger on it. And then I gotta clean this up a little bit too on the turbo side. This way it's an even tighter 90 and it's a bigger hole, because we really don't want to have any creep here. But I'm gonna go ahead and heat this housing up and get the housing really hot and then weld it together. Yes, I will be using a MIG welder, the old Harbor Freight special here. It is 220 and I am using gas. I'm not using flux or anything. The reason I'm not TIG welding this, yeah, I TIG welded aluminum, I had to, but the reason I'm not TIG welding this is because I do not have a way to back purge that housing or anything, and I want it to be cleaner. But for now, this will do. All right, so I just heated the crap out of the housing with this map torch, and then I didn't heat this up because obviously our problem here is we don't want to burn through this, but we want to make sure that the housing's hot enough for it to penetrate. And looks good. I had to stop and start in a few places here, but I think it'll hold. It's not as pretty as a TIG weld. Sorry, Corey Misco, but I'll take it. I went ahead and welded the V-band flange on for the wastegate, and I'm really happy how everything turned out, especially because my fab skills are not really the best, but this is definitely going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it up on the car. This wastegate's beautiful. A little more on this Precision Turbo wastegate. It comes with all these springs. It comes with a really good manual that you can actually understand. And it's really nice when you get a wastegate that comes with a variety of springs, because you actually know what the colors mean and stuff. Because if you order gates on eBay and stuff like that, it'll come with like one spring. You have no idea what that rating is. You look it up, you can compare it to like another brand, but you don't know if the colors mean the same thing. This is just a way to go. You get everything. Like I said, the spanner wrench is pretty cool, and it's V-band everything. It comes with the V-band, obviously, for connecting it to your turbo manifold, and it comes with the V-band for your dump pipe or whatever you're gonna make out of it. And then, like I said, all these springs. I got all this on B Racing's website. His price actually is about as close as anywhere else. It's a really good deal. So I got the wastegate mounted and just the exhaust housing of the turbo, just mocking it up to see how it fits. And it will work. I actually put the aluminum shield on under the car and it fits everything. So I'll definitely be running that just to help protect everything and keep anything from getting hit. So that being said, the wastegate is not too low. That's what I was trying to prevent. It's about as low as the oil pan, as you can see. Now I'm gonna put the rest of the turbo together and figure out where I need to cut and where I need to weld my 90-degree fitting for the compressor side. First step here is you're gonna wanna take your housing off. We're gonna cut off this entire shiny piece here and leave this lip right here to weld to, because once I cut off this shiny piece, I'll have to put the turbo back together, mount it, and then decide on my angle, or if I just need to weld the 90 on there perfect, or maybe point it up a little bit, because I did do that on the last car I turboed. I had the 90 pointing up just a tad to help get over the subframe. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off there and then put this thing back together. All right, so I got it cut off, pretty clean cut. All I need to do now is clean up the housing some and get that 90. I'll go ahead and show you guys that 90 first. All right, so here's the 90. It's a Vibrant 90. A lot of people use these. And this was actually a 2-inch nipple that I cut off this turbo. So another benefit to this, other than just being able to clear your subframe, is this will get you up to a 2.5, depending on what turbo you're using. Some GT35s, yes, they are already 2.5. I went with a smaller one because I wanted to have quick spool, and that's why mine was smaller there also. So I'm gonna be welding this on here. So this lip right here makes it perfect to be able to weld this on. I may need to make this an even tighter 90 here, or cut off some of one side, but I got it mounted up to see. I got it mounted up. Now I need to figure out where I need to put my 90. And I got a question for the people who are already turboed with a bottom mount setup. And why? Why would you go under the subframe? Why would you do that? Look at all this room. There's plenty of room here. And I'm gonna show you guys, even the guys that are turboed, how to go over the subframe. Do not go under the subframe. That's just a terrible idea. And if your car's lowered, well, you're screwed. And a lot of you guys probably don't even want to stay at stock height. So do not go under your subframe. Go right through this massive hole right here. I'm not even using engine risers or anything. As you can see, you need to shorten the 90 just a little bit because it will hit the subframe, but that's no big deal. And then once you shorten that 90, there's this coupling right here. This is on V Racing's website also. It's awesome. That way you can just go right above the subframe. And you want to get the longer one so that you can cut it to size. Don't get the short one because obviously more is better than less. So that's the goal there. So I welded the 90 on there so that it should clear the subframe now. I'm going to go ahead and mount it up and start to actually get serious about mounting the turbo for the last time, hopefully. And as long as this clears the subframe with the coupling on it, it's go time. This video is kind of all over the place right now. There's just a lot going on. I'm sorry about that. But before I mount this and get an idea where everything has to be for the final time, I'm gonna install my feed fitting. So this is what comes with them. Pain in the butt. Problem with this fitting is you can barely get the oil feed line to start on it because you actually start to hit the turbo manifold. So I won't be using that. I actually use one of these here. It's a banjo, so it puts it to the side so it's easier to actually put your feed line on. I used this on my last build. It was a lifesaver. It was kind of impossible without it. I'm not sure how people are doing it. And then here are my coolant lines, and the reason I'm going to go ahead and put these on is I need to make sure just what this all looks like with everything mounted to it, so I know it's going to work, if it's going to work or not. And then once I know, I need to tighten these down with the turbo off the car because it's a pain in the butt to put these banjos on here when the turbo's in the car. You just cannot get to them with a wrench or anything. So once all this is done, I can go ahead and put my studs in the manifold and use my new nuts, and then I don't know where it went, but put my proper gasket on, and yeah, the oil drain gasket. All right, I have it all mocked up, and our coupling is coming right above the subframe like we wanted. And you're gonna see how fast this gets all cluttered under here. You can see how close this fitting is to that 90, but I can still get a hose on it, so I'm good there. I have the turbo clocked at a 45, not quite a complete 45, but enough to get this angled towards the pan so we get our drain right. And then I have two coolant lines on here just to see where they would end up. So now I'm going to tighten down a bolt on the turbo on each side and lock this in this position and remove it, and then lock all the other bolts and tighten down these banjos on here. As you can see, it's a pain in the butt to tighten these banjos down once this turbo is mounted. That's what I was trying to say earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that and then actually put my gasket between the flanges and mount it for real this time. I got it all mounted up. I used that copper spray gasket up here with the proper crush gasket. Do not use a cheap eBay gasket there, or you're going to be doing this all over again. Everything's tight, everything's actually installed, and I have the coolant lines on. I haven't hooked them up yet. I will show you guys how to hook those up. I don't know if it'll be this video or not, but I'm about to put the drain line on, and here it is. I finally got the line I needed. I will put the link in the description. I put the link on the last video also in the description. It's good stuff. It's hydraulic return hose. Anything else is probably going to leak. You want to use this stuff. Here's a better view at this hose here. The tripod didn't really pick up all this when I had the phone sitting on it, but as you can see, it's dropping straight down into the pan. So this is what you want. Let's talk about turbo cooling. We'll end this video with that. It's really easy. When I first started working on these cars, I really was scared to go ball bearing. I know it sounds silly because I didn't want to have to worry about cooling it because, you know, journal bearing and stuff, it's just cooled by the oil. Well, this is really easy after I've done it a few times now. You just get this really cool 90 bar banjo fitting, and it goes right into your block. You have a drain in your block, and it's for draining the coolant out of your block, obviously, but you replace it with this. So this will go to one of your lines to your turbo, and then this will go in your lower radiator hose. It's actually made for a sensor, but all you got to do is put your barb in there instead, put your hose on it, and it runs to the other hose on the turbo. That's it. That's the whole system. That's all it is. And this is actually just a BMW barb fitting, like from a Vanos line or something. If you have one of these laying around, it works perfect. If you compare it to the threads on the plug in the block, it is the exact amount of threads, so you're not going to damage anything or block off flow or whatever may happen. Obviously, you want to put new crush washers on that bolt though if you use it. And then it comes with whatever, these hose clamps for this piece here. I'll show you my red car how it's set up. Oh, this poor car. So there's that piece I just showed you guys in the lower radiator hose. Mine is top mount, so that's why I'm using these solid hoses here versus those stainless braided lines you've seen on the other car I'm building. So this right here just goes from this fitting here to your turbo, and then the other side here goes to the block, which you can't really tell, but I have that fitting on it, and it works awesome. Here's the kiddie pool, and then there's your block drain. Try not to make a mess. So this is what you'll remove and where you will put your 90-degree banjo barb fitting. That is scary tight for being loosened, so hopefully, oh boy, this is not good. Hopefully there's threads left in this by the time this comes out. Oh my gosh. Kind of figured it'd be leaking by now. Oh boy. And this is why you put a pull under it, because it's dripping from 10 places. So you'll let that drain, and then here's the plug that comes out that you will get rid of. We'll go over and compare it to that banjo. That's what I was talking about. Thread-wise, you're nailing it. So that's all you gotta do. Now we'll go ahead and undo the lower radiator hose. We got our shower over here. Here you go, guys. You can put this BMW coolant rain shower on repeat and sleep to it tonight. Got the cooling system together for the turbo. I'm just missing some hose clamps, but everything worked out. So this side here runs to the block, as you can see up there. And then this side here runs up to the actual lower coolant hose. And then I got some hose clamps for that drain finally. But that's a lot. This is like the biggest part of all this at this point. So now all I have to do is make an exhaust and do intercooler piping and fuel system. And this thing should be ready.